All right, guys, what's going on? So, I am actually in my ID today, so that's why I came to the video. I told you I'll be moving. Y'all don't think I'll be moving, so got my birth certificate, all that stuff here with me. So I have to get a new ID here in the state. So I'm getting that today, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is, where do I begin? I do a lot of these videos, and I know you guys sometimes might get tired of some of the stuff I say, so I want to talk about some other things just for once in a chance or whatever. Please pardon the rusty, freaking whistling. And I'm going to take this off for a second because there's absolutely no one around me. So, guys, give me a second. This thing behind your ears just starts bothering your ears. You're like, you motherfucker, you. Like, you know what I mean? Right here. All right, so one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about is about marketing and how albums are marketed to you, how there's sometimes certain types of messages, and I wanted to get back on musical theory as I was telling you guys before, because you guys don't know how much musical theory and the promotion of musical theory actually goes into this to promote the music itself. It's like without it, it wouldn't even exist, you know what I mean? So I want you to hold on to that as I tell you that. So one of the funny things is, I think the most funniest thing is this. The music that you consume, and I say from 2008 to 2009, is a little bit part of a formula, a same ongoing formula. And I would take the formula and give its granddaddy, if I had to say granddaddy, to two guys. One of them would be Chief Keef out of Chicago, and the other one would definitely be Soulja Boy, whether you like him or not. And then it's a close debate about Lil Wayne. So those guys, let's say they were the chieftains of the new sound that you have now known as trap, okay? Now that same trap music nowadays is resonant in almost every single single that you hear, every single single that's on the radio, in rotation on Spotify, on rotation, any like digital outlet that you use or your consumption of music. Unfortunately, there's a reason behind that as well. So I'm going to tell you guys in probably like a 3-part here how this works from my years of working with different record companies and dealing with them and stuff like that. Okay, so this is the first one. The music that you're hearing nowadays is not conceptualized. What I mean by conceptualized, meaning that you don't really have people just sitting back and they're like, yo, we want to create a whole new, total different sound. So let's do this, right? You don't have that. What you have really is you have someone that's looking for a certain sound. They search out to find that sound. And when they find that sound that's resonant with most of the top charting hits that you hear right now, they basically say, that's the guy we're going to sign. And once they sign that guy, they will wash him out as quickly as they possibly can before they're ready for the next guy. This is how the rotation of the fandom goes nowadays. This is why I believe to this day, social media is the worst thing to happen to the music industry. I said this. I encourage you guys, once again, Blog Talk Radio, go check out my old episodes. Just put in OG Mac Drama and Davin Lewis. That's an OG Mac Drama out of Arizona. He won't be hard to find. He wears a turban on his head. So he's a light-skinned guy, real good guy. Tell him Davin sent you over there, all right? Make sure you tell him Davin sent you over there. The point I'm getting at here is, as much as I'm working this in on the conversation, I have to go right here first before you actually get what I'm saying. So the formula since 2008, 2009 has been to sell the same type of merger of music, which you now know is trap. And this is what it's manifested itself into. The shit is the most evil, demonic shit I've ever heard in my life. It's about every single whim and quim and cry you could possibly have. My daddy hurt my feelings. Stuff at the time when I was growing up, you would look at it and be like, yo, pull your fucking chest in, you punk. Like, you know what I mean? But it's not like that nowadays. With so much moderation by liberals, I'm gonna say, and others, and that's not on political side. That's just the truth. It is pushed an agenda of everybody's special, and some people aren't special. Some people are just downright despicable people, and you have a ton of them in the music industry. So let me continue. These terrible people that I was speaking of, not all of them started out bad per se, but they ended up bad because they started getting older and they had more and more ambition that hadn't been fulfilled for them. And then some of them, they got in positions where they got money and now they're even more greedy for more money, if that makes sense. So there's only really two categories of them. You know, everybody thinks it's like 6, 7. It's not. It's only two. And this is existed and that's why I shared the article with you guys the other day about Clive Davis back in 1973 when he was fired from CBS Records. Because what I wanted you to get out of that was, this has been a practice in this business forever. It's nothing new. You guys are getting onto it new, and when I was introduced to a lot of it, what's inside of it, when you guys talk about the Illuminati and all that stuff of being ushered in or whatever, it's just, you want me to tell you the truth? It's a story that's put out there for fear. See, the fear lasts longer than anything. So it's a story put out there. It really is. And if you want to talk about and put them in chronological order, if you wanted to, they would be actually the weakest out of the groups. Now, I can't name every last group, but I can tell you that much. Club of Rome is another one. They pretty much honor everything that's going over and over in Europe right now. So, you learned something. As far as I'll go with that. I'm not saying that because I was part of it, but you do understand this stuff as you get deeper and deeper into this business. You really do. And you understand that you look into people's inquiries, you look into people are saying. You know, I always used to pay attention on the internet to what everybody was saying. There's a couple of bloggers right now that are big, and they don't know it, but it was because of me. It was because of my liking to their page. I know a lot of people, yes I do. The problem is there's not a lot of the business going on right now. There's no touring in the Northeast. There's no studios really open. Social distancing is still in order. You have actually hikes and spikes in the COVID-19 virus right now in the state of Connecticut, including where I'm at locally right now. So it's like, it's a whole different thing. You know, everybody predicted, because flu season always starts around about now. So around here anyway, and New York, I was assuming Jersey as well. They start doing flu vaccines around about this time of year. And when they do those flu vaccines, I mean, this is when you're talking about SARS-2, because that's really what it is. It's SARS-CoV. They call it COVID-19/SARS-2. Now that's out of international. If you don't believe me, you can look this up yourself. Just Google it. I'll say that again for you if you didn't catch it. It's COVID-19/SARS/2. So you can just look that up on Google right now, and I can guarantee you'll be able to authenticate it. And I encourage you to. When you look it up, you'll see there that that's how the international community is viewing this disease, including Canada. And the United States is only largely putting it as one particular virus. I know this sounds off the wall what I'm saying, but it's actually not. So I just wanted to throw that in. Now back to what I was saying about the messaging and things like that in music. So when I put up that article about Clive Davis, I wanted you guys to see something, and what I wanted you guys to see was that this stuff goes back to the 70s, 60s, 50s probably even. You know, I know it goes back to Josephine Baker's days. One of the main reasons why she left America. There's no way that I can explain this, but from the likes of Anton LaVey, from the likes of this demonic groups of the 60s and 70s, up to punk rockers, up to the innovation of rap music and the demonic take it took on that, just as it did rock and roll before. Rock and roll started out actually as it's a transition from blues and Christian music, you know, and that's what it is, made and bred in the South, you know. So, you know, if it goes back to those guys, Howlin' Jack, you know, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, who just passed away not too long ago, whose death was overshadowed by this whole COVID-19 thing. Little Richard, we want to remember him. That's how far it goes back. And unfortunately enough, there's nothing you can do to stop it. And I'm going to tell you why you can't stop it. The engine in the music industry is large, and there's one way to stop it. I'll give you direction on that. I correct myself. There's a way to stop it. The way to stop it is you have to stop consuming certain types of music. And no matter what genre it is, whether it's I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It, whether it's, well, I will have to give particular ones because I could go back to the 80s with Sinead O'Connor, the 90s with Sinead O'Connor, and a couple other lists of different genres of music or whatever. But the point I'm getting at is the messaging has always been there. And the messaging is particularly odd now because it's gotten extreme. It's gotten extreme to the point that most people wouldn't even ever imagine it would have got this extreme and still been passable. They're like, I know a lot of you are young to view me, but to just put it in perspective, if you're saying like 30 years ago, right, they would have never had this promoter like that. 20 years ago, they would have never had this promoter like that. I remember BET After Dark. Anybody remember that BET After Dark? BET After Dark used to, like, they would air the video. It was that one Nelly Tip Drill, and it was after hours thing. So you see the girls, a little bit more scantily clad than they usually were, but that was the purpose of it. It was just like watching the Playboy channel. You know what I mean? It was after 12 o'clock. Your kids shouldn't be fucking up anyway. So that's what that reminds me of. You know what I mean? And people, if you want to take this away, you want it to stop, you have to the music business itself is about to collapse on itself. And anybody that's in the music business right now knows that. It's about to collapse. The songs are worth like under 50 cents on the spin. I think it was at 3-4 cents last time I checked. So all the money's coming from YouTube and 3 and 4 cent spins. That means you need 10 of them to make $1. 10 of them. So the music business itself, and what contributed to it, and I said this on OG Mac Drama's show too, what contributed to it was this. What contributed to it was more, in factly, that when they made the shift from CD to digital, and I think back then it was Napster at first. Napster was the first ones that actually got caught in a lawsuit, and they were taking music files, they were putting them online. This is the MySpace days, you get it? So this was early on, and this was before Facebook was really popping. So we're talking like 2005-ish, 6-ish, somewhere around there. Napster got caught in a lawsuit because everybody was taking everybody's music and putting it online for free. And at that time they were ripping it from a CD to the computer. It changed things. After that lawsuit was settled and the multi-millions they had to pay out, what happened was the whole music industry shifted. And now they wanted to find a new innovation, and Steve Jobs bought that when he bought, of course, the iPod and everything else that followed in between, including the Apple Store and the iTunes and, all the integration. It forced the market at that time to go all digital. I mean, we watched it happen. We watched it happen literally in the business within the office. We watched it happen. And I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen swiftly. And I said on OG Mac Drama's show, and like I said, make sure y'all get in touch with him and tell him Davin sent you over there. He will tell you that I said on that radio, and nobody believed me at the time. I said, everything's about to shift to digital by next year. And I said, I would say I even gave a date. I say by June or July. And I knew why I knew that is because this would be the second year at that time that actually this would be the fourth year at that time that Steve Jobs was actually doing his openings. Like, if anybody remembers what I'm talking about, he would do these hell galas and year after year after year and introduce his new products. Man, I was right. As I always am with many times with this right here in particular. And I was just like, yo, I can't believe that this shifted like that. And everything as time progressed, I think the first time I saw everything, it was going out for $1. Now that was dumbed down for in the store where you would get the physical copies, and it was $17 if it was a double and $10 if it was just a single CD, at the time. It's remarkable but exciting at the same time to see this whole transition shift, because people started getting more and more humble. You know what I mean? Like, hold on 1 second, guys. People in the music business started getting more and more humble. They started getting more and more wary on how they were going to make a deal. And this is how you saw things like the 360 deal and things like that come about. It came about more particularly because now since there were less and less routes to make money, they now had to transition into a way that they could incorporate many different artists into one deal where every last bit of their properties was being touched. So now they had to depend on different entities rather just in the music. You know what I mean? Now, for many people, this is the first time they ever do this. Now, I'm going to go back again, and then I'm going to finish off with that, because I want to make this exciting for you guys, give you something to talk about. You know what I mean? When I mentioned Clive Davis, because all you guys, you know, this all started by talking about Puff and my situation I went through, and I want to move beyond that. I want to have you guys help me get out of this and celebrate with y'all in the end, and not walk away from you like I know some punk motherfuckers have done. I started watching more and more people's like fucking vlogs, and I'm like, yo, some of these people are some shitty people. We're gonna fix that. I think we could have a whole troop here of you guys that can really stop that. Like, we just call these motherfuckers out. Like, you don't have any true natural ambitions or true natural, like, this, like, I don't know, inhibitions, like even if it's that, like, get the fuck offline. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it should be a license for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Not like that, but like, there should be some qualifications. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shitty people on here, and I'm not just talking about people of color. I'm talking about more so the white wingers and the white. I had never seen it that much. You know what I mean? So I started looking at more and more people. All the people I watch, like Corey Holcomb 5150 show. Make sure y'all check that out on Tuesday nights. If you haven't checked it out on Tuesday nights, make sure you check it out right here. Again, Corey Holcomb's 5150 show. Zoe Williams, Zoe What show. I suggest that to you. Star Troy Terrain, Star in the Morning. I suggest you check that out. Doggy Diamonds, who I shared the other day, I suggest you check that out. You know what I mean? And I'll give you some other guys along the way. But those guys right there are the top of it. You know what I mean? All I've interacted with and the good people. And Corey himself, of course, I've seen him now perform twice in front of my own eyes. Caroline's and over Sasa Confuego over in the Bronx with us. So that was a, you know what I mean? So guys, I'm just saying like this. And I end this all back with Clive Davis. Make sure you check those shows out. When Clive Davis, he wasn't the first person that had done something like this. There was many people that have done stuff like this. And these guys have done it as a tradition. Now, I don't know all the players in the game, whatever, that have orchestrated it. You know, some Makoviches and some Borgans and some other people. You know what I mean? You know that lyric where Jay-Z says something for all the boys and girls? That was alluded to something else, you know. But there's a lot of different hands in this, including black hands and brown hands of Latinos. And they all contribute to the whole same theory that you can push this music on and on and on and on forever. There's not going to be any repercussion for what is created from it. Well, now it's reached its peak. And now what you have is you have the music literally controlling not only the culture, but even the thought process of the byproducts of the music. Meaning now the bloggers, they influence it. That's what I meant by that comment. I said there's a lot of shitty bloggers out there. And I don't mean in the like the gossip side necessarily, because sometimes the gossip sides are pretty good. You know, they're good at some things. You know what I mean? So I don't want to take too much away from them. I mean more so the hip-hop blogs. Some of the hip-hop bloggers that are out here not qualified to talk about the music and never lived any experiences within the music, and downright just have bad intentions as far as like talking about the music or whatever, creating beats, creating riffs, you know, things that most people don't want to see, but for some reason or another, these particular types, they do. So that's a problem right there. I you know, there's a couple of sites that I just don't like. You know, the what is that one that just really gets on my nerves? Gossip something. I forgot what the name of it is. It's gonna come to me. But they were the ones that did the interview with Tekashi 6ix9ine, and it was this. I was just watching it, and I was like, yo, this is horrible. Like, I dropped something. I'm sorry. Dropped my papers. It was just horrible. I'm trying to think. If anybody knows what the name of that show is, this hit me in the comment section and let me know. I just forgot the name of it, but it was just horrible. It was like, why are you interviewing this guy? You know, like, out of anybody to interview, you want to interview him? Guys, this is a staple for children of color, a snitch. You know, he was somebody's music that they really pushed. And not only that, those people that are fronting like security guards, those are cops. You better stay away from them. Those are cops that are with him. And now he's roaming around New York because of COVID-19. Nobody's outside, or I would assume. You know, That kid is going to forever be in debt to the federal prison system. So, you know, is he being used as a tool? Yeah. I think he's being used as a setup tool, if you ask me. You know, they want to see who does come after him. So I say far away from that kid. I'm going to get more into this and tell y'all a little bit more. But basically, y'all being fed a message. You're reacting off the message and the tone and the sonic tune of this music is particularly and specifically tuned to that nature for you to have this response. And the only way you can stop it is just telling that industry, as long as you consume it, it's telling them, hey, I don't want to buy it anymore, but not purchasing it, not listening to it. Emphasize it to your children, don't listen to it, because that's where they really start. That's why have you ever noticed, okay, I answered this one for you. The reason they always put an emphasis on youth and hip hop or whatever, because it's not taken as a serious music genre, it's taken as a music genre for entertainment. Now there are, in particular, artists that are taken seriously, but we know from a worldview, and many people in the rap industry know from a worldview this to be true. Within that paradigm lies this. If you're sitting there and you're listening to this music over and over and over and over again, ask yourself, how do you feel? You feel turned up. You feel that's adrenaline. And with that type of music, and that's not a monotone, and the tune or whatever the chords are within those particular instruments, which are usually electronic instruments now, they're not actual instruments. Those are tuning your children, you in some cases, and grandma too that's 34, 35. Come on, let's keep it a buck. Y'all know we exist. And salute to y'all though for doing y'all fucking job. And appreciate y'all being here too. Because I know it's a couple of y'all on here, so it ain't a shot. It was just a joke. But if you value your children, stop them from listening to this shit. It's designed and programmed basically to make them listen to this stuff, to get a reactive response out of them, to heighten dopamines in the mind, to be dependent on it from dopamines, and to listen to it repeatedly. Take my advice. The messaging is there. It's clearly there. It's been there. It's been there before rap existed. That's all I'm saying to you guys. And Clive Davis is not the only one that's guilty. So I don't want to particularly point interest on Clive Davis, but just rather use him as an example of what it is. I'll follow up with some more later, guys. I promise you. And thank you guys for all chipping in and everything you've been doing. I really, really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to continue to say that. And I ain't going nowhere even after this is over. I deserve you guys, and you guys deserve me to be on here every day telling you about something that's going on in the music business, how I see it, and how I see some solutions. There's many solutions. There's many people within the music business that know exactly what I'm talking about right now, and they're upset that I'm talking about it, you know. And me being in Connecticut is still the tri-state. New York is close by. I'll put it that way, you know. All right, guys, I'm out of here.